There are all kinds of matches, and in every match there's a lot of action, risks, and even moments that make us wonder if the superstars will be okay or not. However, there are matches that, no matter how extreme they are, had to be stopped right then and there and couldn't continue for anything in the world. But for one reason or another they continued. Well, apparently the show must go on, but I don't know if it should in such extreme cases. For now, I'll stop talking, and today I'll show you WWE matches that should have been stopped but continued. A body slam is one of the few moves that fans will probably only see in wrestling, even though it might actually seem like one of the most aggressive moves. It has a pretty low risk as long as the person taking it turns around and lands on their back. Well, that's fundamental in wrestling, both knowing how to perform the move and how to take it. An example where this simple move went pretty badly happened during a tag team match where Kane brutally threw William Regal into the ring, slamming his body and head. The landing was so bad that Regal was left unconscious from the move. Kane, seeing that something had gone wrong, decided the best thing to do was to cover William Regal to get out of this situation. After a few minutes, William Regal was able to continue and finish the match. In fact, he and Lance Storm eventually came out victorious. It's worth noting that all of this happened during the pay-per-view event No Way Out in 2003. Let's move on to one of the most important matches of WrestleMania 39 and also one of the most anticipated by the fans. We're talking about the Hell in a Cell match between Edge and Finn Bálor. Oh, a match that had everything. A real hell was experienced inside this metal structure. However, Finn Bálor suffered such a brutal injury that the match had to be paused for a few minutes. And it turns out that during the match, Edge threw a ladder at the demon Finn Bálor. This ladder was stopped directly by Finn's own head. The impact caused Bálor's head to split open, and the paramedics had to rush over to check on him. They ended up stitching him up right then and there, and everything looked worse and worse as the match went on. Finn's huge cut required 14 stitches to close, which must have been painful, but I think nothing will really top that brutal and fierce ladder shot. Mankind vs. The Undertaker took place inside a Hell in a Cell that was almost 5 meters high. It was the third Hell in a Cell match in history, and it took place at the pay-per-view King of the Ring. On June 28, 1998, all of this happened at the City Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Mankind was one of the first to climb up the metal structure, but he would quickly be brutally thrown from the cell onto the commentary table. He would fall sideways from almost 5 meters high, which was truly insane considering he could have landed on a monitor on the commentator's table. But the most terrible part would come afterwards, when Mankind refuses to be taken out of the arena and goes back to the cell and climbs it again. Undertaker didn't stay behind and also climbed it again to later deliver a fierce choke slam to Mankind, but this time from 5 meters high, Mankind broke through the cell, and his head almost ended up smashing against the steel chair that was in the ring. Something that Mick Foley himself has confessed that if that had happened, most likely he would have died. That night, Brock Lesnar ended up seriously injuring the incredible A-Train. Brock Lesnar is one of the toughest villains in WWE history, and his finishing move, the F5, fits his character very well. And even before Suplex City existed, Brock Lesnar was a young and muscular superstar. He gradually earned his place, although always with his seriousness and his characteristic toughness. Usually, he's careful with his opponents in the ring, but that day on SmackDown, he had a bad day competing against A-Train. During a match between the two superstars, Brock Lesnar picked up A-Train to give him an F5, but he lost his balance while executing the move quickly. Lesnar ended up dropping A-Train on the mat, apparently with a broken neck. Can we consider it an unintentional mistake by the Beast incarnate? But we have to be aware of that this poorly executed move almost cost his opponent his career. Tag team matches are really entertaining for every fan. However, within wrestling, there are two moves that are the most commonly used. The first is the move of tagging your partner, and the second is interrupting the match when your friend is taking the worst of the fight. These are the most fundamental aspects of a tag team match, and they very rarely lead to injuries, since they are not dangerous moves that could result in something serious. But unfortunately for Triple H, it was since the game experienced the opposite side of what I'm talking about, and he went through it in the worst way. After performing a move as simple as attacking his opponent to help his teammate. During a tag team match in which Chris Jericho had Triple H's teammate Stone Cold. With the walls, Triple H lunged at Jericho to free Austin from that tremendous ordeal that is the walls. Although Triple H managed to break the hold, his left foot took the worst of it as his quadriceps was completely torn. It's incredible that his injury happened during such a simple move as hitting from behind. But accidents still tend to happen. This was one of the most devastating injuries in the incredible and phenomenal career of Triple H. And now we move on to perhaps one of the most shocking injuries of 2023, which had as its main protagonist Brock Lesnar. The Beast Incarnate was facing Cody Rhodes at the Backlash event. Things got serious when Brock Lesnar hit himself on an exposed turnbuckle extender. That is, he hit himself on the entire metal part. The Beast quickly started bleeding and his face began to get soaked, even more so as the match went on. However, Brock Lesnar was able to deal with this rough moment, and fortunately it wasn't an injury that kept him out of the ring. Survivor Series of the year 2002 saw the debut of the Elimination Chamber. The very first Elimination Chamber was at that event, and it had 6 tremendous participants. An amazing chamber and an excellent fight and coordination were shown by all the great wrestlers in that match. However, the shocking moment of the night happened when Rob Van Dam decided to do his classic finishing move, called the 5-star frog splash. But he didn't want to do it from the top rope as he usually does. Instead, he climbed up to the top of the metal chamber and jumped from there. Against Triple H, his knee ended up hitting the game's throat, and Triple H was close to dying at that moment. The game took it really badly. He couldn't get any air into his lungs and got really desperate in the ring. After the match, he was immediately taken to a hospital. Backstage rumors say that Triple H used this argument to make Rob Van Dam look bad, and that way prevent him from getting important opportunities within WWE, since, according to Triple H, he wasn't a safe wrestler.